So, Bruchim Abayim. We're starting the next shiur in Hishtapchut Nefesh tonight, and we say a small teffila that Hashem should connect us to all the true tzaddikim that are in our generation and all the tzaddikim that have passed on, specifically Rebbe Nachman, Ben Fege, Zachuta Gen Aleinu Al Kol Yisrael. Amen. So he starts off over here in this piece. L'choer yesh la'akshot al inyan hitbodedut v'sicha beno leven kono. A person can have a question. A question can present itself when it comes to this topic of hitbodedut, speaking to the Master of the Universe in your own language, like we spoke about many times. That Rabbeinu was very pro this practice of, if you want to call it meditation, if you want to call it teffila, whatever you want to call it, but to set time aside, secluded time, that it's your personal time with the Master of the Universe, and this time you could shut off the world, you can get your mind off things, you could focus yourself and center yourself with the Master of the Universe and speak, and really ideally to actually speak to the Borei Olam. So he says now you can have a question when it comes to that. So what's the question? The question is as follows: Shetzarich kol echad bechol yom lishpoch sicho lifnei Hashem yitbarach. That it's needed. We know that it's needed. One of the requirements that Rabbeinu has told us, that a person should pour out his whole heart in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu every day. Okay? Shizakeu, that he should have the zchut lekarvo la'avodat yitbarach, that he can come close to avodat Hashem. Okay, as we know many times, that this is a big inyan, that we know that the Breslovers throughout the generations, they were like experts at this. Like their Gan Eden was to be able to stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and beg to come close to him. Right? Like those famous, there's a tzaddik in Eretz Yisrael, his name is Rav Eliezer Berland, Shlita. And he's the Rebbe of Rav Arush, Rav Shalom Arush, that writes all the books, Gana Emunah, Gana Shalom, all the Gans. So there is his Rebbe, Rav Berland. He was a chavruta with the Stipler Hagaon. The Stipler, I'm sure you guys heard, he's a big tzaddik, a huge Talmud Chacham that lived in Bnei Barak. It's a tzaddik that from Europe that had Kol Torah Kula in front of his eyes constantly. Whenever he wanted to, he didn't have to necessarily open the Sefer. It was all right in front of him, Shas, Poskim. So he had a chavruta with him. Who knows, maybe he saw exceptional light to this young Avrich that he decided to learn with him every day. And at a certain point, they went through Shas together, and they went through a lot of, what they call lomdus in the yeshivas, right? A lot of learning and pilpul. And at a certain point, Rav Berlin looked to the Stipler, right, which was officially Litai, right? Not from the Hasidic groups. And he said to him that, Rebbe, I feel like I've learned, Baruch Hashem, I've been learning Nigla, what's known as Nigla, like the revealed aspects of Torah for a while, and I want to learn something else now. I want to learn how to daven. Baruch Hashem, the Torah is going well, but I want to learn how to daven, to communicate with the Master of the Universe. So then the Stipler, he leaned back and he smiled and he says, "You want to learn how to daven?" He says, "Then for that, I'm going to send you, there's a little Breslov shtibel in Mesharim, and go over there and then watch how people daven and tell them that you want to learn how to daven." Okay? And he went over there, and he just kept on going up this ladder, higher and higher and higher, until now, today, he has a huge, communities upon communities of people, of students, of Bali Tshuva, that are now religious, and their children are, it's like already going through generations that Baruch Hashem that are makurav to Rabbeinu's derech of tefila, and you could see it when I was in that shul in Mesharim. You see a chassid just holding on to one of the pillars or a wall, and he's engulfed. He's completely gone, so to speak. He's just in that realm of tefillah, soaring through the heavens. Sometimes, like Rav Moshe Bienenstock said, back in the day in the Breslov Shtibel, if you saw he said these words, I don't know if it means, maybe he was exaggerating, but if you saw a puddle of tears around the chassid in the Breslov Shtibel, it didn't faze you. You know what I mean? It was like a normal thing, like a chassid was pouring out his heart. by Rabbeinu, that's an aspect of like Kodesh HaKodashim. If you could get your heart to be open to Hashem Yitzbarach, it's the most unbelievable thing. You should know, I saw from a sefer from the Rebbe of Jikov, right? The Jikov Rav. He lived in Europe. He was a sort of branch off. He was related to Tzans, and he said, Rabbi Yisrael of Jikov said that you'll see that there'll come a time before Mashiach comes that attachment to Hashem will be so rare, and that it won't be necessarily found by the people in the yeshivas that are learning up the lundas, right? They'll be like craving for attachment to Hashem. Like, it'll be so rare, it'll be so scarce that they're going to be like, he says they're going to be like pulling their hairs out in order to be able to reach dveikut, because no one's going to feel real dveikut to Hashem. And who are the real people that are going to feel real dveikut, which means attachment? He says the simple people, the pashadi, the simple Jews that in their heart they feel that they're attached to the Master of the universe. Those are the ones that are really going to be zocha to this true attachment. It was a time, once upon a time, like the tzaddikim, the big Talmid Chacham, they're the ones that exemplified the true attachment. But he says before Mashiach comes, it's going to be an upside down world, and you're going to see the Jews that are the simple Jews that are working with this everyday speech and everyday connection to the Master of the universe. They're the ones that are going to feel this attachment to the Master of the universe, and that's what Rabbeinu is being metchazek. So he's saying, so in this simple practice that's known as hitbodedut, that he encourages everyone to do, he says a question can pose itself, right? So he says like this. What's the question? We also see that by many tzaddikim, shekol tzaddikim hakadmonim osku gam kein bezeh. We see that all the tzaddikim in previous generations, they were involved in this practice, in hitzvodedut, to speak to the Master of the universe, right? Actually, you should know one line in the Ramchal that they learn in all the yeshivot, even the yeshivot that are, so to speak, anti-hitzvodedut, so to speak, right? It says in the Ramchal the words ha'ikar. I saw that. It's unbelievable. Rabbi Arush printed it in the beginning of his book. It says the words, and I looked it up in the Mesilat Yesharim. See it for myself. It says ha'ikar hu ha'hitzbodedut. The Ramchal, the one that in the yeshivas they're like learning and learning, right? Then meditation, speaking to Hashem, is the ikar. I don't remember having a little meditation slot when I was learning in my yeshivas. You know what I mean? And again, this is not the purpose of this, not to get together to bash yeshivas, chas v'shalom. There's tremendous good, there's tremendous Torah and Yirut Shamayim that comes from that. But the point is that we that are being exposed to this, we have to be responsible on ourselves. We just came across a major section of information that there's a part in Judaism that maybe a lot of people are missing. And that's a part for taking your time out during the day, and how important that is. The tzaddikim refer to that as the Shabbat of your day. Right? Just like, there's a mitzvah every day to remember Shabbat. Like Hayom Yom Echad b'Shabbat, Sheni b'Shabbat, right? We count every day. It's a mitzvah to remember Shabbat. So he says, how do you makayim? When's the actual time of the Shabbat? So remember, it's nice. When do you experience it? You experience it when you take that time off and you shut out the world. Just like on Shabbat, you shut out everything and it's just Hashem. That time during your day, whatever it is, whatever you could be Mekadesh, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, a half hour, an hour, who knows, right? That time is your Shabbat, is your time, is your grace, is your period with the Kadosh Baruch Hu to really attach yourself. Okay? So he says, we see all the tzaddikim were osik in this, right? V'yostu al ze kama tefilot lizkot leinatzon layitzar. We see many tzaddikim, they're already set prayers. They've made tefilot that Hashem should help them to save them from the Yetzer Hara. V'sheyizku litzkarev l'Hashem yitzbarach u'liyira u'l'hava oto yitzbarach. That they should have the merits to come close to Hashem and to serve Him with love and fear. That the Zohar says love and fear is the two wings of all mitzvot. Right? If you want your mitzvah to fly, if you have an element of love and you have an element of fear, they can fly. Right? A person just does a mitzvah like